Hey, well, my name is Tim, and you're on to my show, Sales with Tim, either on YouTube. In case you're just joining me for the first time, don't bother. You get to know more about me when you um, pay listening attention. I'm actually one of those very ordinary man, just like you. I have virtually no background as a borders in probably its son or a child born with silver spoon in his teeth. I'm not. In fact, I have experienced one of the worst situations in life where at some point I would think that probably God is partial until I started reading and started discovering a whole lot of things about you won't know yourself until you take some few steps backwards. Watch what you've been doing all along until where you are today. That's only when you'll be able to actually see the powers you have. So I am just the ordinary man like you. There has no one in government, there has no wealthy family member to lean on or to run to when things go bad. And it's been like this for many years, for decades. I remember when I first had my wedding, and a friend walked up to me and said, Tim, what are you planning for your wedding? And I said, normal. I'm doing the right things I need to do. And he said, are you getting support from? He mentioned some big names that he knows I know. And I said, no, I am not. And he said, why? I said, I don't know. I don't know the answer to give to this question. I think all my life has been me giving myself that push, me giving myself the courage to take some uh, very bold steps along the line, actually, for some great favors. God has been able to bring one or two persons, and they've been able to make things even work faster. So I am not undermining the fact that as humans, we need people in our lives. We need people that can actually speed the the race for us. But where you don't have, you can't kill yourself. Where you don't have, you can't you can go and commit suicide. Where you don't have, you can't decide to force yourself into the hands of people to help you. And I know that this thing I'm talking about, over 97% of people living in this country experience this. They experience it in diverse ways. I've seen situations where uh, people walk up to me and they're like, look, I've got kids. I have no money to feed them. Not even to talk about paying their school fees. And I've had situations where when people like this complain about such, one or two persons say, you've got hands to work, go and work. You've got a cool finishing, as in you're a normal being, so why not go and work and get money? But you get to start thinking, look, the job is not even available. And even if somebody wants to do the job, the employer wouldn't want to take the person. Let's take, for instance, when I left the banking sector and it got really, really bad, at some point, I thought that the best for me to do was probably to go and start doing some taxi runs. After I had a car, so because I needed to meet up my immediate needs. But again, I just couldn't do it because of my ego. I just couldn't do it because I felt that no, it wouldn't be right for me to go on the streets and start taxing. That's for me who has a car. What about other people? They don't have this car. They probably were one time branch managers in a bank and they walked up to someone and said, please, can I use your car for taxi? The person would say, no, you can't do that. How can me, who knows you as a branch manager of a bank, now give you my car to start doing taxi for me? So it's a very complex situation. A lot of people go through this complexities many times. And you won't blame them. You won't blame everyone. For example, my case that I thought was not just normal for me to go and start doing taxing. Uh, you probably may want to say, oh, he's feeling like on top of the world and so he doesn't need a car, or rather, he doesn't need to do taxi. Is it better than these other persons and all of that? The truth is, we all have our egos, we all have our respects, and we tend to protect it many times over and over. It may look like a very good business for one other person who has left the bank, like myself, who of course I'm not. But on another part, it's just not the right thing for me to do. That's what I felt, and you can please respect my opinion with that. And I think I must say that I love the fact that I didn't go into it because I didn't wait for the world to push me here and there before I took the necessary decision. So basically, I'm talking about a topic that you probably must have heard many times over and over when I talk on my platforms, when I blog, when I give seminars and all of that. I learned this basically from a very great man, a legend, who is late today, um, popular Jim Rohn, in his book The Art of Exceptional Living by Jim Rohn. Um, he said this: don't wish things were easier, wish that you were better. And it just takes care of all challenges of life. Those words. What is it trying to say? You see, for every success in life, there is a. Let's take, for instance, the president, while trying to choose members of his cabinet, left some very strategic positions for diplomats. And the ex minister, Mrs. Adeosun, was just resigned for one or two reasons you may know, is a clear indication of how the ordinary man could actually get to a level of the extraordinary people by virtue of his skills. Adeosun was single handedly picked by her government and recommended by other stakeholders of the APC government to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the president to the precise. And they said, look, when it comes to this particular office, just take a shot on this lady and she's going to do the best of the job for you. Well, I may not be able to say how perfect she was able to do her job or not, but I want to just bring something clearly here that the reason Adeosun, who was never a politician in the spheres of the Nigerian politics, shot to become a member of the APC cabinet in the Federal Republic of Nigeria government led by the president, President Muhammadu Buhari, is because of that skill she has. The simple skills of managing finances for global entities, the skill of managing finances for corporate bodies. That is exactly what made the difference. The truth is, if you probably dig deep, Adeosun may not even be better in terms of family background than your person, than where you are today, than your family. The fact she lived in the UK all her life is not a yardstick to say that she's actually richer than you or her parents are actually richer than yours. It's just very simple that she got to that position not because she campaigned in 2015 or 2014 for this government, but because she was chosen by virtue of the skill she has. Now, what that means is that if you have such a skill and you're able to actually propel it towards people that can actually make decisions or people who could actually recommend you to people who make decisions, you definitely shine one day. So, when you lament about your current situation, I'll tell you this, everybody has a problem. We all go through turmoils of life. Life is a constant, and what life does is it pushes you to the wall. And for those who refuse to retract back, life smashes them on the wall, and that's the end of them. For example, you've heard about people who have left high paying jobs in their lives, and all of a sudden they couldn't pay for the fees of the children, they couldn't fend for the family, they couldn't do the basic needs, or rather fend for the basic needs of life for themselves. That's how bad life takes you. I've experienced it before, so I know what I'm talking about. But I'll tell you this again, that this set of people, we have them all around us. And you see, a good number of them wait for sympathy or for people to sympathize with their situations. So they don't tend to make the move and fight back with life. What happens? They end up dying prematurely. Just early part of last year, I think I heard about one very great manager in the bank who, after losing his job, in fact, he had one of the most topsy-turvy experience as far as banking is concerned. This is somebody who had grown to a very astute height, who I cherished so much. I I loved the guy. He's just someone, a fun to be with. Then all of a sudden, I think he had a problem with one of the state governments, and he was petitioned. The bank didn't even listen to him at all. They just sacked him, and that was the end of this guy. He died finally last year. May his soul rest in peace. But look at this. When he lost the job, he had about 10, 7 to 10 years interval for him to actually survive, and probably push on with life. But for these 7 to 10 years, the man was just indoors. He was not making any advancement. He was probably making that I don't know about, but I know for sure that 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 aura of being a branch manager was still up on his shoulder, and he just couldn't go for the lesser jobs. He just couldn't go for the hustle and all of that. He was probably waiting for a bigger banking jobs. And you know what happens? A lot of friends will continue to promise him, oh, just wait. I think there's someone coming up with this. A bank is coming up with this. I would recommend you. And he may probably have one or two recommendations, and it probably failed. He went, and maybe the organizations probably wanted to pay him something less that he felt by the time he just goes away, they might even call him back and say, yes, we've all gone through all of this many times. So he probably had those experiences. But see, I really don't want to judge. I really don't want to conclude on how he died. But I want to know that for one or two times that I was able to converse with him, I found out one thing, that the man did not make the needed effort to actually go for something lower than his status. I remember the time I was going to start my real estate business, and I called him to say, uh, what do you think? Can we do some management stuff together? You're better in management uh, uh, level than myself. I think I would need you to probably come in and work with me, and probably see how you can actually get my guys running in the direction we want, the other vision we want. And he said he was going to think about it and get back to me, but he never got back to me. And I didn't feel like actually pushing harder because he's far my senior as far as the job is concerned. So I didn't want to trouble him, so I let him be. But he ended up dying. Very sad. Now, in the course of our conversations, I was able to pick one or two things from his comments to make me see reasons why he wouldn't want to get to the level where I was as at the time I invited him to join me. So, that being said, I hope you can understand that some people uh, only wish that things get easier rather than wishing that things they get better. And when it comes to getting better, it's not just about your skills, it's about the fact that you can actually align yourself with the realities of life. Uh, it was enough for me to say, team, hold on, wait for as long as you can, go to churches and pray, go and consult some oracles and all of that. And one day, one of the banks will probably call you back and you start your job, a new job again, and all of that. Of course, I'll say that I was tempted to actually go back to the bank at some point. That's another funny story for another day. But what I'm trying to say here is um, you definitely would have to understand that besides skills, you need to begin to align yourself with the realities of life. You need to begin to understand that life comes this way. Life is just his life comes with some kind of unstable approach towards you anytime. You may want to be very sincere to life. You may want to be very straightforward to life. But life doesn't give you that way. Life comes with a whole lot of jam. It comes with a whole lot of push. It drags you here and there and all of that. To the extent that even people around you may even start thinking, come on, is this guy actually normal that he's getting involved in this kind of thing and all of that? That's what life does to you. It makes people even not trust you. It makes people begin to lose faith in you. It makes people undermine you. But until you have to prove them wrong, you just can't get that level of trust or that level of of commitment from people towards you in life. So by and large, you need to understand that while life comes at you, you need to begin to look at life in the realistic sense of you. I'll say this clearly that nobody ever thought that I would get up one day as a branch manager who had resigned from his job and go to a traffic and stand on a traffic to display a telephone for people to buy. I remember back in secondary school days, my nephew used to be uh, in a park selling breads and all of that. And as a then, I was like, "Whoa, what kind of thing is that? I don't think I'll be able to do that and all of that." Until reality dawned on me after secondary school, and I found myself having to clear a cocoa farm. I had to start loading and offloading trucks of cocoa and palm kernel. I had to start teaching in extramural classes. I had to start teaching in schools. I worked in a hotel and all of that. I realized as I grew older that life comes totally different. You're no longer dependent. In fact, I have this parents who could no longer fend for us. So it was more like, oh, they've done theirs already. So it was time, or rather, turn for us as children to begin to fend for them. So I found myself in a hotel before I finally got into the university, where I would have to wait in the hotel after working Saturday. I'll have to wait in the hotel till the next day, Sunday evening, so I can actually put a whole lot of things together, like monies that have been given to me by guests. I'll have to wait for guests to check out because it's only when they're checking out before they can actually give you some tips. I'll have to wait for them to check out before I close for the day. So most of them would have to wait till like two before 12 midday or on Sundays before the checkout. So I would have to wait until the checkout. Then when I get the tips from them, they would still ask me, "Oh, take care of one or two things in this room before I go." So I'll end up doing all of that. But the sweet part is by the time immediate gratification. By the time I'm done with that, I would have been able to actually fix myself very well for a sweet Sunday. Because as I grew up as a child, I was made to understand that every Sunday afternoon we must eat rice, probably rice and stew or rice, beans and stew with some good meat. But when things began to go bad for the family, when my parents could no longer keep up to this task as retirees, we started missing this form of eating white rice on Sunday. So it was more like rice has become a king's food. So when I started working in the hotel close to my parents, I decided, okay, I must ensure that this Sunday never goes without every Sunday never goes without us eating rice. So I tried to keep up with that. So every Sunday I would wait until that time, get maize and go straight to the market, buy tomato, buy rice, buy whatever to make stew and rice for the family, and I'll go home and go feed on it like that. Now that's the reality of life. So when I came and started standing on the road and selling phones, people would some people who actually knew me as a branch manager would see me while in the car and they would throw their face away. The next minute they would call me and say, "Oh, come, how are you? Where are you? You're in Abuja. I saw someone like you." I'll say, "Yes." "Oh, you live in Abuja too?" "Yes." "Okay, where did you see the person?" They'll say, yeah, somewhere around this area. I'll say, oh, I'm the one. I'm actually the one. I sell phones now. And they're like, wow, you sell phones? Okay. Okay, I'll order for one and all of that. So I ended up enjoying those kind of things. I brought myself to that level. And even though it was something I never envisaged I was going to do in life, because of where I had grown to, when reality dawned, I had to go to that level and I started selling. And because some people realized that, come on, for him to get to this level, come on, let's give him the push, let's patronize him. And I started getting those patronages. And it got to some point, which I may not be able to talk about now, but one of the greatest deals I had was the fact that one of the guys who used to bank with me in the bank one day, or those days, happened to find himself in one of the telecommunication industry. So I walked into his office to go and actually talk to some of his guys so they could help in selling my products for me alongside theirs. And he saw me and was like, "What are you doing here, this man?" Of course, after hailing me, "What are you doing here?" And I'm like, "Guy, I'm here to sell my phones." He said, "What? Cell phones? I you know I heard you're in." I said, "Yes, I was, but I've resigned. I'm no longer interested in the banking business. I want to run on my own." And it's like, wow, wow, wow. So what are you doing? What kind of phones? And so I just brought it up. He said, come, let's go to my office. Incidentally, this guy happens to be one of the big boys in that organization. And I was like, well, why didn't you apply for um, the telecoms marketing job? I said, "Guy, sincerely, I am not interested in working for anybody again. So this is exactly what I've started doing. Please, all I need from you is just to link me up with the guys." And he picked up his phone and called one other lady rather, and introduced me to the lady and told me to come with the lady. I went to meet the lady after speaking with him. He introduced me to some of his boys. I went to meet the lady. Guess what? You know the power of women. The lady gave me the bangest deal ever. And in one deal alone, in one of those deals alone, I made over 800,000 euro. Over 800,000. One of those deals. I was so excited. I was so excited. Wow. I I rushed immediately. I went to buy a set of clothes for myself, and life began to roll as expected. Now, the fact is, when I realized I needed to go to the street, I told myself, yes, every wheelbarrow man is known or seen as a poor man. Every guy who runs on traffic selling one or two products is probably seen by the world or this part of the world as poor people. I am going to go into this very vicinity, and I'm going to go in there with a different approach. So I won't be leveled amongst those who have accepted themselves to be poor people. As such, they are brought to the level of running on the street to sell their products. So I devised other means to support my under traffic sales, and that brought me a whole lot. I'm sure I have been able to pass a good message to you, but in conclusions, one, the world is going to fight at you. Number two, you are expected to fight back, not to run away from the world. That's two things. So, in view of that, when you see the world fighting at you, don't begin to cry. Don't begin to wish that things were easy. Don't begin to wish that, oh, your uncles would have come to your rescue, your classmates or friends would have come to your rescue. Wish that you have the skills and tenacity to face the world or to fight back at the world. And until then, you can never be victorious. My experience is a lot for anyone to learn from. I may not be the man driving the best of cars in the world today. I may not be the man living in the best of mansions or having the best of offices or probably flying from one continent to the other. But I can tell you that for the ordinary man that I am a testimony for every man who has got no connection. I am a testimony for every man who has got nobody in government. I'm a testimony for any man who thinks that life is difficult for him. Why not sit back today and think again? If you had the opportunity to fight for what belongs to you, how would you do it? How would you go about it? When you think that way, now transfer it to the fight that you are going to have with the world, because the world is fighting at you. The world is taking all the food from your mouth. The world is taking all the good tidings you have from you. The question is, those things that the world is taking out from you belong to you. By nature, by God's gift, they are naturally yours. So what would you do? Will you sit back and let the world take it away, or you will go and fight and take it for yourself? The only thing that should echo from you right now is that you will take the decision to go and fight and take back what belongs to you. And that time is now. That time is today. Sit back and enjoy this video all over again. I am your friend, the ordinary man, just like you, Tim Abel. Keep watching this show, Sales with Tim Abel, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel, because I'm going to consistently be on this channel to reach out to you. Well, in case you love this show, share it with someone on your page, or get it across to someone who is actually going through the turmoil of life. And don't forget about my book, How to Start a Business Without Money. I shall be talking more about that in the coming days. I'll see you again. Cheers.